Everybody. My name is Aaron Whittier. I'm excited for all of you guys to be here tonight. You've been either you've been invited here for the first time, maybe it's your second time, but taking a look at what we're doing. You might have had a friend reach out and say, "Hey, you got to jump on this tonight. You got to see what we're doing. You got to see, this company that's really gaining some momentum, that's brand new here." You might have seen people on their Facebook with devices talking about these different devices that are giving them a ton of relief and a bunch of other people some relief as well. So I'm here just to give you a little more information and that we can make a decision or get closer to a decision whether you want to partake in this technology to help you or your family out. And also, you might have heard there's an incredible, simple business opportunity as well. So I'm going to go ahead and mute everybody real quick. Okay.
This is Aaron.
You muted yourself.
Oops,
Thank
sorry.
you. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that. But yeah, D, you guys can actually mute people when they come on as well. You can just keep an eye on that as well. But so first let me tell you my story. I've been around this industry of direct sales for 30 years now. I can't believe it's been 30 years, but time flies. And a year ago, a good friend of mine reached out to me and said, "Hey, remember that guy Paul? 'Cause I knew this guy Paul in Taiwan from a prior business." And I said, "Yeah." He's like, "This guy's been bugging me for 5 months to take a look at something because he wants me to open up the United States." And I said, "Okay, what is it?" And he said, "Well, listen, let's just jump on a Zoom and hear him out." I said, "Great." He just wanted him off his back because he really wasn't looking for anything. He's very successful in his other businesses. And so he jumped on. I jumped on with him. And we saw this gentleman in Taiwan that's was with the company. The company was only 2 years old at the time, last March. And I don't want to make income claims, but he was making a couple $100,000 a month already, and he'd been with the company just under a year actually. And so we were stunned by that kind of success that quick. But we saw these devices, and I got to tell you, I didn't really know much about this technology, but it definitely intrigued me because I definitely have some ailments. I'm 55 years old. I put my body through a lot over the years, and he talked about circulation improvements, inflammation improvements, all these different ailments people were having or had, they were improving with these devices. So of course I was curious. But then he went into the business side because I'm definitely, I love businesses and love helping people. And he talked about that. And my friend Tuan and I would text back and forth saying, "Wow, I've never seen anything quite like this." So it definitely intrigued me. I wasn't looking at the time, but it intrigued me. But I asked this guy, Paul, I said, "Paul, what's going on in the United States? Because that's where I live." He said, "Well, that's the challenge. There's a couple people there trying to get it going, but all the marketing materials are in Chinese because the company was 2 years old. It was all over Asia. They were doing 80 million per month in Asia in just 2 years. The company did $1 billion the second year, and it was all in Asia. So there was nothing going on, and that's why he was reaching out to Twan. He said, "Twan, I know you could probably open up the United States with the people you know, and if you can get some other people, we could really, take over the United States with this technology and this new company." So I said, "Well, what's going on?" He said, "Well, the problem is, it's all in Chinese and it's all in Asian, languages, but also what the challenge is, it takes 2 months to get the devices." I said, "What? 2 months?" And he said, "Yeah, they come over on a boat, and I said, "Well, that's not good. If you have somebody get this device and it takes them 2 months, that's not good." And he said, "It's all in crypto. There's no credit card processing." So I thought to myself, it's not quite ready. Now, my good friend Tuan, what he does is he helps people out. He took some positions with the company, and then what happened was this guy Paul asked the company, "Can we hire Tuan?" Because Tuan has a media company. They do a lot of marketing materials for different companies. And he said, "Can we hire him to do the English speaking materials so we could break into America, Australia, Europe, and where people speak English?" And they said, "Sure." So they hired Twan's company called Mint Media, and Twan passed it off to his friend Jason. Jason got all the materials and he started learning about it, started translating it, and he got really excited. Jason said, called Twan and said, "Hey, did you sign up in this company?" He goes, "Yeah, I signed up as a favor, Paul, so I can get him off my back." And he goes, "Well, I want to sign up. I want to bring this technology to people I know." And Twan's like, "Okay, whatever, knock yourself out." He got the device and he went to Japan. He shared it with some people and it took off. Three weeks into Japan, it absolutely exploded. He brought the device back to America, went to Hawaii, and let some people try the device. And within a week, he parked himself in a hotel lobby and he had families people lining up, waiting hours to put their feet on these devices. That's how quickly it took off, and that's how demonstrable this device was. So, Paul in Taiwan reached out to Tuan 3 months after our Zoom, sometime in June last year, and he said, "Hey, do you see what's going on in your business?" And he's like, "What business are you talking about?" He said, "Olylife." He goes, "No, what's going on?" He said, "Well, your business partner Paul, Jason, really took off and went crazy with it." And he goes, "Okay, let me log in." So he logged in. Now I know it's hard to believe, but and he didn't know he was making this because it all went into his wallet, into his back office website. But he was making $1,000 to $2,000 per day. Didn't do anything. So Tuan called his wife Van over and said, "Babe, look at this." And she was like, "What? Like, what's going on? What is this?" And he goes, "Well, it's, she didn't want to do any businesses because she thought it was the same kind of business where you have to order stuff every month, auto ships, different, criteria, different things you had to do to qualify every month and things like that." So she was tired of those businesses. They had a ton of success, made millions of dollars in the industry, but they knew the industry was shifting to affiliate model. Companies were changing. So they really didn't have any interest. So they called Paul in Taiwan and said, "Okay, you said this company's different. What's different about it?" He goes, "Well, when you get the device, that's it. You don't. There's no auto ships. There's no ongoing fees. There's no website fee. You get the device and you're in business. You don't have to do the business if you don't want to. There's no extra cost for anything." And they were like, "Whoa." And they said, "Does this device really work?" And Paul's like, "Yeah, it's unbelievable." So instead of them hoping it worked, right? Because obviously when we get in businesses like this, we want the products to work so we can believe in them and then we can share them with people. So instead of trying it themselves, they took the device out of the closet because they put it in the closet. They never used it when they bought it. And they invited two friends over their house, one guy and his wife. And his wife's name was Stephanie. Now, she was in a bad car accident, so they thought she would be a good candidate to try this device. She came over. She could barely walk in the door. She had a lot of, pain from the accident, inflammation. She put her feet on the device and she asked them, "What is this?" And they said, "I don't know. It's some PEMF device." And they showed her the 5-minute video that Jason, his business partner, built about PEMF in English. They watched that. They also watched another video of all the different devices this company has. And she sat there for 20 minutes and they talked for a little while. And she got up and walked out the door. And she walked out the door so much better than she walked in the door. They got home an hour later. Stephanie's husband called Tuan and Van and said, "Hey, I don't know what those devices were or are, but my wife feels so much better. So we want that foot device and we also want the goggles that we saw as well." Tuan and Van sat there and thought to themselves, in all the years we have been in business, almost 30 years, we've never had a device or a product that was this demonstrable, that worked the first time. Now, does it work the first time for everybody? No, it doesn't. But so what they did was they started building it quietly. Now, of course, they called me up right away and said, "Hey, Aaron, this thing's taken off." I'm like, "What's taken off?" I didn't even know they signed up. I had no idea. I thought that conversation was over. Called me up and said, "Hey, we're making 40,000 a month." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And I'm like, "It's not ready. It's still not ready in America." Called me up the next month, the next month, the next month. She Van invited me on her Zoom in December. December this last 3 months ago, 4 months ago. She invited me on her Zoom. She showed me her back office website and showed me that they made over $500,000 in 7 months. Now I know it's hard to believe. It was hard to believe for me. Now I've done very well in this industry, but not that fast, not that fast, not that quick. So I asked her. I said, "Hey, is it still take 2 months to get in America?" She goes, "Yeah." I'm like, "What? How are you building this?" She goes, "Well, a lot of it's outside the United States. A lot of it's in, Asia. A lot of it's in Australia. A lot's in Europe." And I said, "No credit card processing yet?" She's like, "No." So I declined it again. So let's fast forward to January 24th. I see them both post on social media. They said they were building this company behind the scenes. Their team's done $10 million in 8 months. No auto ships, no qualifications. Your volume doesn't flush. All these things, if you're in the industry and you know what I'm talking about, all these things that, you know, um, people don't want. People are kind of tired of the old style. And that's why a lot of these companies go an affiliate model. A lot of companies are struggling because people don't want auto ships. It's hard to compete with the gig economy. So, when I saw all this, of course, I thought to myself, okay, what's going on? Because now they're posting and being public. I called them up. They're in China. They had 100 of their teammates from all around the world that the company paid for them to go see the home office in Singapore, in Hong Kong, and it was all on the company's dime. And I asked them, I said, "Why'd you guys post on social media?" And they said, "Well, you're going to be our first phone call when we get back to the States. We have two warehouses that are stocked full of these devices in America. we have credit card processing, and we have a home office, a state-of-the-art home office they're building in California. And of course, right away I thought to myself, uh-oh, I better get on board. So that was that was January 24th. And I got to tell you, it's been the simplest thing I've ever done. So let's get into this. I want to show you some slides, and show you a little bit about this company and hold on one sec. Let me go back here. All right, let me share the sound for you. Good. All right, so let's get into this and let me show you a little bit about, whoops, sorry about that, about what the company's all about here. So, two of the biggest challenges, in America, no one prepares us for, obviously proactive wellness, strategic timing, real leverage. It's one thing that, we're not really, we don't understand really growing up here. And, we spend, a ton of money on healthcare. You guys all know that, trillions spent every year, chronic illness rising, daily prescriptions rising, and, the North America wellness crisis. Listen, I don't need to educate you about this. You guys all know the crisis we have in America. 42% of American adults are obese. You know, there's there's
Not very
there's a ton
good.
of problems, obviously. And if you guys want to mute people out when they come in, we'll look at that, please. That'd be great. 70% of adults in the US take at least one prescription daily. I mean, that's a problem, right? The average American will ingest 50,000 pills in their lifetime and still never be taught how to make their body work better. The system makes money while people stay sick. We all know that, you guys. The big pharma, they make, trillions of dollars, right? We wait for symptoms, and then we diagnose, we prescribe, the proactive model is supporting the body daily, improve resilience, optimize function. You guys probably know the global wellness industry has experienced massive growth. And a big reason is because of biohacking. You guys have probably heard that word biohacking, which includes PEMF, red light therapy, recovery tech. And there's a major global shift in how people approach health. People want drug-free solutions. You guys all know that. The world is shifting towards prevention, not just treatment. Tech and health are merging. AI-guided wellness tools, at-home devices are replacing clinic visits, and PEMF is now gaining momentum. And what's driving the PEMF growth the most? It's our aging population, increased chronic conditions, and demand for home use therapy devices and growing awareness, right? So that's really what it is. So Olylife fits smack dab in the middle, and that's why this company is growing so quickly around the world. So you look at the advanced R&D, there's 3 years of research. There's laboratories owned in Sweden and Germany. This isn't just an Asian technology. This is a global technology here with Sweden, Germany. They actually have advanced chips only found in Japan for these devices. So there's European certifications, thousands of global patents on these devices. And there's home offices. You see the home offices there. There's a bunch, and there's more popping up because this company is really, really growing globally. There's 80 million plus right now monthly revenue just in Asia. 500 millionaires were created in 3 years just in Asia, and they're shipping over 152 countries. And again, there's tons of patents. All this information is available to all of us to prove that this technology works and these devices work. So, PEMF and terahertz. So, what does it do? Right now, I want all of you, if it's the first time looking at this, I want, when you're done with this, if you use any kind of AI like ChatGPT, I want you to go just do a search. Don't take our word for it or these slides for it. Go on and just search what are the benefits of PEMF. Okay, you can take the internet's word for it. It's all positive. Okay, activate and revitalize in cells. I mean, the list goes on and on what this technology does. PEMF stands for pulsed electromagnetic field therapy. It was actually first used by NASA, believe it or not, but it encourages cell repair and regeneration, supports healthy circulation. It does so many different things. Here's some pictures of the astronauts when they came back from space. They're just not used to the gravity, right? So their bodies have to repair. So they use this technology. In the 70s, the scientists were using this to support cellular health and recovery. So if you look at the evolution, what's happened, you can look at this stuff, and look this stuff up. Electromagnetic fields, right? EMF was discovered in the early 20th century. Growing awareness happened in the late mid 20th century. In 60s and 70s, the discovery of PEMF, what it did if they used pulsed electromagnetic fields in a way to support cellular health and recovery. and then PEMF in wellness, right, in the 2000s. Now, if some of you guys may have used a PEMF device before, probably not PEMF and terahertz combined. That's what this company is so big on. But, a lot of times you had to go to a place like a wellness spa or someone that had these devices because they're very, very, very expensive if you go somewhere. So in 2020's Olylife Innovation, now cutting edge, user friendly devices designed to enhance everyday wellness for your home. And that's what's really, really cool. And that's why this is taking off the timing of everything. Science behind terahertz. If you look at what it does, again, it activates cellular energy, improves blood flow. So many different things terahertz does as well. State of the art wellness devices. This is just a few. This company doesn't have a ton of devices yet. They're only 3 years old. And what they do is they develop a bunch of devices every year and they put them through a ton of, studies and they pick one. So instead of releasing a bunch of them, they release the best performing one every year. Now, of course, they have more than three, so they released a few when they got started. But you look at these different devices. We're going to go through a few different ones here. Here's some cutting edge additions: a shake and massager, which is probably the hottest hottest thing right now. Really, really cool. My 31-year-old daughter, will not let me use it. She loves it. But the P90, this is their flagship product. So you put your feet in the device and you see what it does. Encourages natural fat metabolism and body toning. I mean, listen, you can read that. There's a ton of just benefits with this device. Now, they made it better, they improved it. Because people in Asia, they have smaller feet. People in America have bigger feet. So this device really was perfect for Asian people because they have smaller feet. So when they went globally, it had to get a bigger, foot pedal. So they developed this P90 Plus down, and you can see it with the two additions at the bottom there. Now it has bigger pedals. It has higher levels. It has some additions that you can use as well. And I'm going to show this video so you guys can see this video. Pretty incredible. This is obviously her blood before a PEMF session, all stuck together and clumped. And watch what happens.
Wow. That's amazing. That is amazing. Holy smoke. Look how separate they are.
One 20-minute session using our device. Look at her blood flow. So much better. Oops, let me go back here. So that's what this device does. And that's probably a big reason why the circulation of my legs, I feel no pain anymore. When I sleep, my legs don't feel heavy. 21 days in, I got great results. It took me about 21 days. I started feeling a difference about 10 days in, but 21 days was the magic number for me. No pain, like I said, in my legs, no heaviness, no pain at night, no throbbing. I got a hip replacement 2 years ago. Yeah, I'm young, but I got a hip replacement. I did a lot of damage to my body. My right hip needs to be replaced as well, so my pain's decreased in that. My pain in my right elbow is decreased. I've had an issue with my elbow for a long time. So this device is just really incredible, and what it's done for me has done so much for other people as well. The global eye strain crisis. We all know that overexposure to blue light. We're all looking at our screens, our phones all the time. So there's a big issue right now with kids and adults, right? So this Galaxy G1 Smart Eye Massager, what it does, listen, this is on the way to me. I finally ordered it because I see a bunch of people, especially on my team here, that are loving this device. It'll put you to sleep. It'll relax you. Helps with your eyesight. There's a lot of different things it does. And this is one we talked about a minute ago. This Shake and Massager works on visceral fat, which, hey, listen, we all need help with visceral fat, I think, around our waist. Most people anyway, right? But has PEMF therapy, helps break down stubborn fat, supports collagen and firmness, aids in improving skin appearance, stimulates human hand kneading, supports deep cellular wellness. This device is incredible. You can turn it around and use it on your back, your lower back. So, with that being said, there's a bunch of different devices. If you're here to see the technology, find the Olylife device that fits your needs and take the first steps towards a healthier, happier you. And if you're not convinced yet, like I said, do some research. Go on ChatGPT and ask what are the benefits of PEMF therapy or just PEMF. Or maybe you have a certain ailment, right? Maybe possibly you're diabetic. Do a search on ChatGPT and say, diabetes and PEMF. or whatever your ailment is. If you have inflammation, if you have circulation issues, look those things up, okay? Take ChatGPT and the internet's word for it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to kind of transition a little bit now. A lot of you here heard there's some incredible finances to potentially make here. So, maybe you're looking for a business, maybe you're not. If you want to stick around and see if it's for you, great. I think possibly, this is, well, I think potentially this is the biggest and best thing I've seen in my 30-year career. And why is that? Why is this business a home run? Well, the product is, like we talked about a minute ago, is demonstratable. You can put somebody's feet on this device, they're going to feel it. Now, whether they feel a difference right away, that depends, right? But they're going to feel it working. We actually have these pens, these open circuit pens, where you can touch people's skin before they put their feet on it, and the pen doesn't light up. But then you put your feet on the device and you touch their skin, their ankles, their legs, and the pen will light up. It's pretty neat. So you can feel it work. Now, it's not a huge lifestyle change, right? And it's also not, the typical companies I've been a part of. It's not a skincare company. It's not a pill or lotion, right? And you're not trying to change people's buying habits. Most likely if you go to somebody and go, hey, look at this device, they're not going to say, oh, I have one of those, right? Most people don't have these devices in home. So it's just an incredible business. And the timing right now couldn't be better. If you heard my story in the beginning, this is brand spanking new to the United States and really every country outside of the United States. But the key to business success, we all know this. We've probably seen this before. There's three different, levels when talking about a business. Is a startup phase, which usually a lot of companies fail in the startup phase. Well, this company obviously went through the startup phase. They're 3 years old. They did a ton of business in Asia. Like we talked about, they did $1 billion a second year, just in that second year, not cumulative, but $1 billion a second year, doing over 80 million per month in Asia, just in Asia. And right now, if you look at number two, the growth stage, we're right there. And that's where an explosive growth phase point, that's where it starts. You look at any trend, every successful company went through this trend and eventually gets to the stability phase. And that's where just about everybody's going to have one of these home devices in their home. That's when the opportunity is going to be not as good, right? But we're looking at right now where that red dot is, right in the beginning of this explosive growth phase. So it couldn't be better timing. And looking at the business, how do you get started to seize the right moment from startup growth to explosive phase? Right now, the entry to get in this business is to buy a device. Now, we talked about the P90. The regular P90 is $1,000. The shake and massager is $1,000. The goggles are $500. So what a lot of people are doing is getting the P90 Plus for $1,500 and then getting the goggles. So what you can do, obviously, the whole family can use it. It's global ready, no auto ship, is daily payout, high retention and satisfaction through product quality and results. Because when people get one of these devices, they want another one because they love them. So that is pretty neat how that happens. So product purchases and first earnings, you can come in for $1,000, come in for $2,000, or come in for $6,000, or anywhere in between. It really depends. If you're someone that has, maybe you're a chiropractor or a wellness spa, or maybe you do trade shows, then maybe you want more than one device, but you don't have to. You can come in for the lowest point of $1,000. And there's 7 ways to earn. I'm not going to go through every single one of them. I'm going to go through a few of them just to show you how powerful this is, and the reason why Tuan and I, when we first saw this to Paul in Asia, we kept texting each other saying, oh my gosh, I've never seen this before. And you're going to understand why in a second. So there's no joining fee. Your joining fee really is just getting a device. There's no subscription. You're active forever with a one-time purchase. You have you can build international teams. Like I said, they're shipping to 152 countries, and there's passive potential. So we build a binary here. It's probably the fastest growing compensation plan. You build 2 teams, a left and a right. You place new affiliates and their sales volume onto one leg or another. And your first sale automatically goes on your left leg. So let me explain this for people that don't understand that. Now, one thing that I've never seen before, and I'm sure if it's your first time seeing this, you've never seen this in any kind of business, and that is this. So when you get started for $1,000, when you get placed below somebody in this binary, whoever you're placed directly below, you're going to be able to make 5% of whatever they earn up to 3 times your buy-in. So if you buy in for $1,000, you get one of the devices, and that person above you makes $1,000, well, you make $50. 5% of $1,000 is $50. You make money off the person above you, which has never been done in this industry that I know of. So if someone makes $60,000 above you eventually, you'll make $3,000 and you'll max out your earning. Now, I look at this as just a bonus. Okay. When I saw this, I'm like, okay, great. If I'm placed below somebody that goes to work, great. But if not, no big deal. But it is kind of neat. You might have customers that just want the device. They get placed in your binary compensation plan, and they may be placed below someone that's actually actively sharing the business, just sharing these devices with people because they want to help people. And that person that just bought the device could make money. And it's just a bonus. Pretty neat. If you come in for $2,000, you can max up to $6,000. It's 3 times you're buying. If you come in for $6,000, you can earn up to $18,000 just off the person you're placed below. It's not guaranteed. And then it, actually goes down. The 5% goes down again. So if you look at that, let's say someone makes, $10,000 above you, you make 500. Well, the person below you makes 5% of the 500. They make $25. Okay. It keeps going down. Now, you can also get a performance bonus. This is when you bring somebody on. Let's say you bring me on board and I get the $1,000 device. Well, this $1,000 device is 750 PV, and you earn 10% of the PV. So you'd earn a $75 bonus when you brought me on board when I get that device. Okay. Now, if someone comes in for $2,000, that's 1,500 PV, you'd earn $150. Someone comes in for $6,000, you'd earn $450. Now, let me show you something that, like I told you, Tuan and I were texting each other back and forth when we saw this compensation plan. Never seen anything this powerful, this big. So let me talk about this, a tier bonus. Now, every time you put someone on your left or right, okay, left and right, the first person on each level, now this is just off $1,000 purchase. So someone buys the Shake and Massager or the P90, it's $1,000 device. Let's say you bring on A1 and then you bring on B1. Well, when that happens, the first person on each level, you're going to make a $375 tier bonus. And then when A1 brings on A2 and B1 brings on B2, even if you didn't bring them on board, that's another match. You make another $375. And you see the third level, A2 might bring on A3, B2 might bring on B3. Well, you earn another $375. There's no cap to this. It goes through infinity. Even if you don't bring those people in, every time a new person on each level below you comes on board, you make $375 all the way up to $2,250, depending upon what those people, the left and right, purchase. So if the left and right person purchase $2,000 on each side, A and B, if the left picture there, if A and B both purchase $2,000 to get started, you make a $750 tier bonus. Now, let me show you how this works. Give you a visual. Now, Tuan and Van are my sponsors, right? They're actively going out there every day. They're helping people. They're posting things on social media. People are contacting them, and they're bringing people on board all the time. Same thing with me. I am full time with this already. It's growing incredibly fast, and I'm always, almost daily, bringing people on board for these devices and the business. So let's say that's you below me. Okay, you come on board, and while you're waiting for your device to arrive, right, Tuan and Van bring somebody on board, and they place them on your left side. And then again, you're still waiting for your device. You may be figuring things out, right? Even though it's very simple. And I bring somebody on board, and that goes on your second level on your left side. And then you get excited and you start to, basically send a picture of the device. And by the way, this is the system. You send a picture of the device to somebody and say, "Hey, Sally, have you seen this device?" And Sally says, "No, what is it?" And you say, "Oh, it's a PEMF device." And she goes, "What's that?" And you go, "Hey, do you use ChatGPT?" And she says, "Yes." You say, "Hey, look up the benefits of PEMF. What are the benefits of PEMF?" And she gets back to you and goes, "Whoa, like there's so many benefits to this technology." And you go, "Yeah. Hey, are you on Telegram or are you on Facebook?" And she says, "Yes." She says, "I'm going to add you to a group so you can see all these people that are, receiving incredible results with these devices." And she goes on and she looks at people, reads all these testimonials of people getting these results. And she reaches back to you and goes, "Oh my gosh, I want this device." And you go, "Okay, great." So you actually bring on Sally, and you put the first person goes on your left, the next spot on the left. That's number one. So Sally's number one. And then you like, "Wow, this is simple." So you start sharing it with some more people, and you bring on your second person. They go on your right side. Now, when you do that, this example is based on everybody purchasing $2,000 worth of devices, maybe the P90 Plus and the eye goggles, right? So when you bring your people on board personally, you're gonna make a $150 performance bonus. Remember, we talked about 1,500 in volume when they order $2,000. You make 10% of that, so you get a performance bonus for 1 and 2 of $150. And that's going to actually bring on your first tier. Number 2 is going to complete your first tier, first left, first right. You're going to make a $750 tier bonus. And then what happens is your people bring on a couple people, the first people that go down the left side. And then another person, first person, Sally, brings on her first person, goes down the left side. And then her first person brings on, or someone's first person brings someone on that goes down the left side as well. And then you bring on your third person. Well, what we do is we bring them on the right side, but we stay to the left, and we'll help you with the reason why we do that. So number 3, you personally sponsor, you bring on, you make another $150 tier bonus, and then, I'm sorry, $150 performance bonus, and you tier bonus another $750. Now, if you look to the people to the left of 2 and 3, did you bring them in? No, you didn't. Someone else brought them in, but you still got a tier bonus of $750. And then you bring in your fourth person on tier number 3. You get another $150 performance bonus and another $750 tier bonus. And then your first person on your right, number 2, brings on their first person that goes directly on their left, and you get another tier bonus. Now look at that. You didn't bring either one of those people in on that level, but you still received a $750 tier bonus. And then what happens again? Number 3 brings in their first person. You get another tier bonus. Then you bring on your fifth person. You get another $150 performance bonus and another tier bonus of $750. And then you bring in your sixth person. Same thing. Repeat it again. $150 performance bonus. Another $750 tier bonus. And look what happened. You actually earned $900 in performance bonuses when you brought on 6 people. And you made $5,250 in tier bonuses. Even though you only brought 6 people in, you tiered 7 times and you didn't bring a lot of those people in on the left side. So you made a total of $6,150 with just bringing on 6 people in this business. And you also brought on 10,500 in personal volume on the left and right. Okay, because you had 7 people that each ordered the $2,000 worth of devices, which equals $1,500. 1,500 times 7 is 10,500. Why is that significant? Well, it's this right here. You would actually be eligible for our first leadership rank called M1. Now, when you hit M1, 10,000 on the left, 10,000 on the right, you get qualified for 1 share in the global's company, global revenue of the company, and it's shared among all the qualified members once a year. Now, remember, we talked about this company's doing, over $1 billion a year right now. So and the only thing you have to do to requirement to keep that is to bring on 1 person per year. That's it. And that's going to be a really nice residual for all the people that are achieving these ranks here. You look at the other ranks here. M2 is when you have 100,000 on each side, and it goes up from there. When you get up, then, by the way, this is all cumulative. Your rank is all cumulative. Your volume's cumulative. It never flushes. So, obviously, if you're here for a little while, you're going to be able to hit these higher ranks as more and more people get these devices if you start building a team. So, the last slide here, listen, you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. The one thing I want you guys all to understand is how simple this is. Okay. This business is the simplest business I've ever done. And the reason being is because it's really not competing with anything out there. And you're just sending a picture to somebody. And with everything going on right now, the timing, the wellness industry, people wanting devices, these devices being affordable for people, the crisis, the global pandemic right now of inflammation and all the baby boomers aging out, right? People want these devices, they just don't know about it. So, are you going to be the one that shares these devices with the people, and not someone else? So one thing I want to leave you with is this. You're obviously invited here tonight, or maybe share this recording. And was that the only person that shared this with you? That's my question for you. Because if no one else in your network, okay, shared this device with you or this opportunity with you, that means the opportunity is really, really good for you. Okay. It's when we have a lot of people in our network reaching out to us about the same thing. That's when probably a lot of people know about it. So right now is the most incredible timing for this company. And it's very simple. So if you're looking for, just to get better health, potentially, better feeling better, then get one of these devices. If you're looking for, some extra money, then get back to the person who invited you on here and get your questions answered. You want to see the whole compensation plan? We have that. And if you want both, we can give you both. We can you get these devices, you can feel better, and also we can help you and help your friends and family make some money as well. So be the first to start sharing these devices. So with that being said, I want to thank you all for jumping on tonight. I appreciate you, and we'll do this again next Tuesday. And you guys have a great evening. Take care and take charge. Bye bye, everybody.